Hi guys, this is Raghav here from Headphone Zone. The Headphone Zone and Lypertek collaboration Pure Play Z3 True Wireless Earbuds. I made a very detailed video talking all about these, but I know for a fact that a lot of people are gonna come back to me and say, hey Raghav, how does this sound in comparison to a whole bunch of other true wireless earbuds which are out there? Now, we obviously think that this sounds very, very good. If not, we would not have put the Headphone Zone logo on this product. It means a lot to us to endorse this product and say, hey, we're willing to put our name behind it. But just so that we can give everybody some point of reference, we thought we'd do a quick video comparing this to a whole bunch of popular true wireless earbuds. And there is quite simply no other true wireless earbud that is more popular than the Apple AirPods. So even if you've heard no other headphones, I am pretty sure that you would have heard the Apple AirPods at some point of time. So today, we're not only going to be comparing the Lypertek Headphone Zone Pure Play Z3 to a pair of Apple AirPods. This is the latest generation. We're also going to be comparing it to the Apple AirPods Pro 2, the latest greatest from the house of Apple. Now, why at Headphone Zone we have a pair of AirPods and AirPods Pro 2, I don't know, but it makes for a great reference point for us to be able to talk about some of the other headphones that we have out there. Keep in mind that the Lypertek Headphone Zone Pure Play Z3 is available for $5,999, or as I like to say it, less than the price of a return ticket to anywhere in India. The Apple AirPods 2 go for about 10,000 rupees if you get them with all the bank offers and deals during the Diwali sale. And the Apple AirPods Pro 2, which is the latest greatest from the house of Apple, go for about 20,000 rupees with all the bank offers, with the Diwali sale, all of that happening. So we're going to be comparing the Lypertek to something that's at least twice its price and about 4 times its price if I have to take a rough benchmark. And we're going to say what the pros and cons of each of these are in comparison to the Lypertek. Now, just so that we can have a common point of reference, I'm going to be pairing all 3 of these devices along with my shiny brand new iPhone 14. And why we're doing that is because we want to make sure that we're giving the AirPods a fighting chance. The Lypertek Headphone Zone Pure Play Z3 comes along with both the aptX, which is from Qualcomm, as well as the AAC codec. The aptX is great for a whole bunch of Android phones because almost all of them nowadays support the aptX codec, so it allows you to listen to music with a reasonably high quality without a lot of compression. But when it comes to Apple devices, you need the AAC codec, which of course the Lypertek has and which also both the AirPods work on. Now, keep in mind that if I wanted to use these AirPods along with any Android device, I would be using the lowest possible codec, which is SBC. So obviously that's going to sound pretty nasty. So we're going to give the AirPods a little bit of a head start in this race and make sure we're only going to be comparing it along with the iPhone. Let's talk about the usability, right? Right out of the box, that's Apple's strong point. Every product just works, in Steve Jobs' own words, magically. So as soon as you pop open the hood on any of the AirPods, it instantly pops open on my phone. It pairs almost seamlessly. It even gives me a very polite prompt asking me if I want to turn on Siri. Now, I'm going to be using Apple Music to stream my music right here. So it's going to be using high-res lossless in terms of sound quality. Not that it should make too much of a difference, because even if I'm using the lossless quality, I think that the AAC codec would do a good enough job. Moreover, I get this very cute little prompt asking me if I want to enable spatial audio. So we don't want to do that because I'm going to get a whole bunch of weird sounds on most of the tracks which aren't made with spatial audio. So we'll keep it a level playing field and not use the spatial audio feature while comparing the sound. Now, the Lypertek Headphone Zone Pure Play Z3 is also not a very difficult true wireless earbud to pair. I simply have to open the hood and I go to my Bluetooth settings on the device and it pops open right over there in pairing mode. If it isn't, I simply have to hold down these buttons for a few seconds for it to detect. And the minute I hit pair, it works just fine. It's really no complicated process. It's of course a few extra clicks as compared to the Apple user experience. But I tend to find with a lot of other true wireless earbuds, sometimes one side gets detected, sometimes the other side gets detected, and you have to do a whole bunch of resets to be able to change devices. It's quite a bit less painless in this particular case, but you're not going to get anywhere close to the magical experience that the AirPods have. So you got to keep that in mind. Apple boasts the W1 chip, the W1 chip that's being used in the AirPods, and that's basically what's responsible for the Bluetooth connection, for making sure that spatial audio is included, a whole bunch of things that's going on in there. But more than anything else, it's really Apple's proprietary way of keeping this ecosystem closed. So you're not going to be able to get any of these benefits if you're on Android, because Android doesn't work well with the W1 chip. No one really knows how to use the AirPods with the Android devices. So only keeping that in mind, I think if you're going to be using an Android device, then the Lypertek itself will come out ahead on its pairing system and the user experience that it gives you right there. Now, if we have to compare the features that come along with the AirPods 2, you've got to keep in mind it's got spatial audio, the W1 chip is in there, it comes with an IPX4 rating, so it's water resistant, and those are all things that the Lypertek will not have. What it does have, in fact, is an IPX7 rating, which is the only feature list in which I think it comes out ahead of the AirPods. The AirPods Pro 2 comes along with noise cancellation, and the noise cancellation is a very, very effective noise cancellation because it's using not just the hardware, it's also using the software to be able to cut out the ambient sound. The mic quality on the AirPods Pro 2 is also going to be very, very good because you're going to find that it's able to process the sound when you're on calls to give you crystal clear voice, something that is also found on the Apple iPhone. So you'll find that your call qualities are definitely going to be really, really nice. In addition to that, it has ambient mode. So with a simple touch of a button, you're going to be able to hear the outside ambience when you're on the move and you have these AirPods on. And all of these things are quite literally the cutting edge of technology that's available on any hearable device out there in the market. And of course, Apple's going to do a damn good job with this. That's ultimately what you're paying for, isn't it? So the next feature that I think a lot of true wireless earbuds like to boast about is the IPX rating, the fact that they're water resistant. AirPods and the AirPods Pro 2 both come along with IPX4 ratings, so they're water resistant. I can see a lot of people using them in the gym and using them on the run. I know they don't get spoiled very easily. So that's a +1 for both these devices. The Lypertek Headphone Zone Pure Play Z3, on the other hand, comes with an IPX7 rating. And if I do the math right, 7's more than 4, right? So it's better. Okay, now coming to the Lypertek Headphone Zone Pure Play Z3. It's got really nice high quality microphones. It's something that I don't think they've compromised on in any way. But the form factor is a little different from the AirPods. You don't have a stem that's kind of sticking out. The entire microphone unit is built into these true wireless earbuds itself. So you'll find that in doing that, there's a little bit more echo and noise cancellation that needs to be handled just because the microphone is not separated from the rest of the electronics as well as the drivers. And how Lypertek chooses to do that is to use Qualcomm's CVC 8.0 technology. CVC stands for Clear Voice Capture. So the software inside the device is basically what's clearing out the echo and the noise. Now, don't get me wrong. I don't think that there is a comparable product to the AirPods when it comes to microphone quality, especially for calls. I really don't think anyone out there in the industry has done a good enough job in comparison to them. But what you do get for a price point of only $5,999 with the Lypertek, I still believe is a very good quality microphone performance. It shouldn't leave you in any situation whatsoever with a noisy phone call that you're struggling with. Now, the other feature that a lot of people want to talk about when they come to true wireless earbuds is the noise cancellation. Now, there are two ways of looking at noise cancellation. One is what I call the passive noise cancellation or noise isolation. This basically is when I put these earpods on, how good a job does it do of blocking the outside sound. Now, the Apple AirPods themselves come with this rather unique design which doesn't use any ear tips, and therefore, at least to my ears, aren't giving me any isolation whatsoever. It's a job to keep them on my ears themselves, so maybe it's just my ears, I don't get it. But I can pretty much hear the outside environment just fine. It's not sealing out the noise in any way whatsoever. So I don't think that these are particularly boastful of their ability to block out outside sound. They don't even have any active noise cancellation to do the job for it, so you can pretty much rule that out with this device. Now, when it comes to the AirPods Pro 2, these of course have much better isolation because now you have ear tips with them. Ta-da! And they come along with active noise cancellation. So the active noise cancellation on these are much better because they are not only using the hardware to be able to block out outside sound in the form of these ear tips, but the software is also being able to constantly read the ambient sound and be able to play the opposite waveform into your ears to cancel that out. That's typically what we call active noise cancellation. Now, Bose is of course the pioneer in this technology, but Apple really picked it up well and has adapted it onto the AirPods Pro 2 very, very well. Now, none of this is available on the Lypertek PurePlay Z3. There's no active noise cancellation whatsoever on it. But what I do believe that the Lypertek does a much better job of as compared to both the Apple AirPods and the AirPods Pro 2 is the fit, the seal, and the noise isolation. When I put these on, the silicone ear tips do a much better job blocking outside sound. Now I can practically not hear anything that's out there. So I don't think I'm really missing on the active noise cancellation in any way whatsoever. It's doing such a good job of blocking the outside sound, at least to my ears, that I really don't think I'm going to be missing the active noise cancellation. Moreover, if I'm going to be upgrading these ear tips and using the foam ear tips that come in the box, then the foam ear tips give me a much tighter seal that I highly recommend everyone try out. It works for some, it doesn't work for some, but if you try it out, you'll know the answer for sure on what's the right one for you. All right, I think the only thing that's now left is to talk about the sound quality. So I'm going to be listening to the Lypertek along with Apple Music on my iPhone. I'm going to be listening to the AirPods and the AirPods Pro 2 along with Apple Music on my iPhone. And I'm going to try and maybe give you my very, very unbiased impressions of what the sound sounds like. That was a fairly easy comparison. It didn't even take me a few seconds to be able to know the differences between all three of them. Now let's start with the Apple AirPods 2 itself, right? So I don't really understand the shape and design of these. While it's of course convenient, it doesn't do anything for me in terms of sound. I don't get a seal, and as a result of that, I quite literally can't hear the bass very well. There's absolutely no instrument separation whatsoever. There's almost no air or treble that I can tell that is adding any sparkle to the music. So it almost feels like the treble's been rolled off. Now, none of this is, I think, going to surprise anybody out there because Apple has not made these AirPods for audiophiles. But it just shocks me how congested it can sound. I don't think anybody should be using this for listening to music at all. The AirPods Pro 2 got quite a bit better. Now, because they have these silicone ear tips, of course, it gives me a somewhat of a better seal out there. And moreover, you'll also find that because of that, the bass is just a little bit tighter, it becomes a little bit nicer. So this is, of course, quite a deserving upgrade as compared to the original AirPods. But when I turn up the music a little bit, and I'm listening to it with a little bit of detail, it almost feels like the instruments are all coming from one place, from one point. There's no separation whatsoever. So when I'm sitting down and closing my eyes, I can't imagine the instruments coming from slightly different places in front of me. It sounds like it's just two-dimensional. And what makes it worse is the fact that on a lot of the busy portions of the song where there are multiple guitars and instruments and the drums kick in and the bass drops and the vocalist is singing, I can hear very clearly distortion. It almost feels like it's overwhelmed with too much information, because of which the speaker is distorting to a point that I can hear it. Now, the Lypertek, keeping all other biases aside, is perfectly well neutrally balanced. There's no one frequency that sticks out. So it obviously knocks this AirPods out of the park. It's not even a competition. I can't even say that this comes close to sounding decent, whereas the Lypertek I genuinely think sounds very good. And when I compare it to the AirPods Pro 2, the competition is a little bit more even. The bass becomes pronounced, I can hear it. The treble sparkle is very much there, I can make it out. But I think for me, the biggest difference between the two lies where this is just so much cleaner. There's no distortion out there whatsoever. It's clear to the point that I can tell the texture of the sound, the beginnings and the ends of the notes so distinctly. I can't tell that on the AirPods Pro 2. And perhaps for me, the big sucker punch, the knockout blow, if you will be, is that on full volume, there's no distortion on the PurePlay Z3. I can tell each instrument crystal clear and clean, whereas I'm getting very distinct distortion on the AirPods Pro 2. It's not even as loud as the Lypertek, but the distortion for me is just a total no-brainer. For which it's still shocking that something that costs 25,000 rupees doesn't sound as good as a product that costs 5,999. And every time I ask myself why I like the Lypertek so much, I simply have to pick up a product that's 4 times its price, listen to it, and I know my answer. So I'm sorry if this sounds almost like I'm a little biased, but I welcome almost everybody who's watching this video to pick up a PurePlay Z3, compare it to a pair of Apple AirPods, and tell me if they come to a different conclusion. I'll almost guarantee that everyone will be able to hear exactly what I'm hearing right now. All right, guys, I think I've done a sufficient job of scaring everybody who owns a pair of AirPods, whether they've made a life mistake in getting one. I don't think that was the intention of the video. It was simply to be able to highlight the fact that the Lypertek headphones on PurePlay Z3 is a special product, special for several reasons. It doesn't have the gyroscopes, the accelerometers that the AirPods does. It doesn't have the motion sensors, doesn't have the touch controls, doesn't have all the sensors that tells this device that you've worn this item and you've taken it off, that you've paired it with your phone, doesn't have the W1 chip that does spatial audio, doesn't have all the bells and whistles that Apple loves to share about this very magical device. Sure, it even does call qualities better than anybody else out there, only because it's got a superb software paired along with a really nice hardware that does a great job in giving you crystal clear voice quality. But considering that this is so much cheaper, it's half the price of an AirPods, it's 1/4 the price of an AirPods Pro 2, I really think that the Lypertek headphones on PurePlay Z3 does just one thing and one thing only, which is that it sounds fabulous. And considering all those things, I definitely think that for an audiophile, I would have no problems whatsoever recommending this device, because I simply don't think anything that Apple has in its stable beats this device. And the fact is that it costs only 5,999, which to me makes it an absolute winner.